Hello, this is Rocky Patel with ProductLifestyle.com, and today I want to talk about cleansing and energizing your food and the stuff that you drink. And why do we need to do this? I mean, this is like something I learned from like Master Ko and Master Choco Sui about just quickly cleansing and energizing your food real quick. And if you're at home, it's easier to do. You could just sweep off the like the plate of food, or like when you're cooking it, you can clean it also. And typically, like when I buy groceries, I'll clean everything. As soon as I get in the car, I'll clean the food and then energize it. And the same with like say if we're ordering like Chinese food, as soon as we get the food, we're cleansing it with green, orange, electroviolet, and then energize with pink or with gold. And the reason you want to do this is because the places where food is grown, I mean, you don't know how clean the ground is and the people processing the food. And like say if it's like a kitchen, like in a busy restaurant where there's like a lot of stress, especially when they're like really busy, the cooks can be really, really stressed. So that kind of stress energy can go into the food. And if the chef is like mad or like mad at you, they might put like all kinds of energy in your food. Like one example was, we went to this place to get a pizza, and I had my kids with me, and something was wrong with the order. And so the lady making the pizza was just yelling and going off, like really mad. She's just unloading on us about the pizza. And I was like, okay, and we hadn't even paid for it yet. I was like, okay, let's go. Walked out, and I was like, we're not gonna eat that, because like the lady's just putting all kinds of anger and stress and negative energy into that food. So we just went across town to another place and then got it there. So you want to be like, when you're cleaning your food, you can start with the kitchen. Like a lot of times, like if we go to a restaurant, I'll be at the table and I'm cleaning the kitchen and the food line, especially if I know what the line looks like. I'll be cleaning it. Like Chipotle, you go there, you can clean the food while you're standing there, and you don't have to be like sweeping and invoking, all this stuff like in front of everybody. You just quietly do it. You just imagine your hand is over the area you want to clean, and you just quickly cleanse it, quickly cleanse the kitchen, and then it's like maybe say a prayer and bless all the people that are working there. Because like say a place like Chipotle, like they a lot of prime killers are vegetarian. They don't eat the pork, and they serve a lot of pork at Chipotle. And I've been wanting to like write into the owners of or the corporate office of Chipotle for years. It's on my to-do list, because basically what they do is like they have like two types of beans. One is like a brown bean with pork oil in it, and the other one is like black beans with no vegetable juice in it. I mean no meat juice or no pig juice in it. And so what they do is like they have the one with pork in it on the other side of the one that is vegetarian. So in the front, nearest the guy dipping it out, is the black beans, but they'll dip out the brown beans, and as they're moving it, it's dripping out like into the black beans. So it's like I try to avoid the black beans there unless they bring like a new like last week we were there with my kids, and we weren't going to get any beans, and then the cook's like, oh, we need more black beans, and it's like, oh, he's like, what do you guys want? And we're like, we want black beans, but we want to wait until they bring the new one. And he's like, oh man, like, oh, why you want to wait? And it's because there's like that black beans has been sitting there all day getting dripped in like all the pork oil. And like a couple weeks ago, I was there again. My kids like Chipotle, so we were there, and they have like this cheese dip, and on the other side of it they have pork, and they have like this fake meat stuff too now. So they got all this up front, like in the first row, and then like the pork and the meat and all this stuff is on behind it. So I was there with my daughter, and they were making our food, and they were like gonna like, the lady was, she had our food was sitting there on the line, and she was gonna make somebody else's food while she was waiting on something. And so the lady was like picking up a big old like spoon of pork oil, dripping pork, and like pork that's falling off of it, and like she was gonna bring it over the top of our food, and it's like be dripping in there and like stuff falling out. And sometimes, like, you know, as they're moving these spoons around, like the meat falls into the vegetarian, like they got this veggie meat stuff, and pork falls into that, right? So anyways, that's even more of a reason, like, clean your food, especially if you're like vegetarian, or like, you know, you don't like, you know, you don't eat so much meat. But that's just one example of, like, you know, cleaning the food. And, you know, typically, you know, like when we're cooking at home, you know, you want to clean all the food. Oh, and another thing is, like, if you go to a restaurant, a lot of times the silverware and the dishes can be really contaminated. Like last week, you know, we were at this Chinese place, and you could see like cut marks on the plate where they're like just sawing on some meat like this. Like for years, people have been using this plate, and like there's like all kinds of cut marks on the plate. And my daughter's like, oh, you know, I don't want that plate. You know, it's like, she wanted the one that looks like normal without like all the cut marks on it. So, you know, we're cleaning and energizing, you know, all that, you know, all of the, you know, the plates and the, you know, the kitchen. And, you know, usually I bring like an MP3 player with me that has like the own plane. When I go into the restaurant, you know, I'll have like the own plane to clean, you know, clean the restaurant. Because if it's like a heavy meat place where they serve a lot of meat, the energy can be really dense. But, you know, if you eat meat and you love it, and it's like, you know, all the stuff doesn't really matter. But still, you know, even if you eat meat, you want to clean your food, because the energy that goes into that meat is terrible, especially when the animal, and it's like, you know, there's all kinds of adrenaline and pain and fear and all kinds of stuff is like in that meat. Because I know years ago when I was on borderline becoming vegetarian, whenever I would eat like chicken, I'd feel nervous and fear and scared. And I was like, realized that was the feelings of the chicken. The sadness, the fear, the adrenaline, especially when they you know, they process them. It's like all that goes into the meat. So I was like, you know, I had to, you know, clean it. And then finally I just stopped eating it. But that's why, like, people pray over their food. And that's another way you can do it also, is like you can just do a prayer, the Lord God or Lord Christ, and, you know, whoever you invoke for, cleanses and energizes the food and blesses it with life-giving energy. But anyways, and then the water too. You know, you always want to cleanse and energize your water with divine healing energy. But just remember, you know, if you bless a lot of food, you know, try to eat it all. Because, like, if you just throw it away, you're like throwing away like divine blessings. You know, if you bless water, be sure you drink it all. Because, like, or just like be sure you just suck all the divine blessings out of the water. Because, like, if you just throw that divine energy down the drain, it's like, you know, I don't know, it's kind of a waste. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video on cleansing and energizing your food and drink. Talk to you next time. PrankLifestyle.com. Bye-bye.